I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow morning, stepping outside your front door, and realizing that the fundamental building blocks of human life have just vanished.
Just completely gone overnight.
Exactly, like completely erased. Imagine a reality where you reach into your pocket and there is absolutely no money because, well, currency doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
You look for a passport, but there are no nations, no borders at all. You think about your spouse, but the entire concept of marriage is just gone.
That is a lot to process before breakfast.
Right, and it gets wilder. If you have children, you are no longer raising them.
Wow.
Instead, literally every logistical detail of your life is managed seamlessly by this incredibly strong artificial intelligence. And this whole global operation is quietly overseen by higher cosmic beings.
It sounds like the premise of a massive, sprawling science fiction epic, honestly, or,
Yeah.
Perhaps a highly speculative virtual reality simulation.
Yeah, totally.
But what we are looking at today isn't presented as fiction at all. It is a very real, very serious roadmap for the future of humanity.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because for this deep dive into our source material, we are exploring a highly specific, utterly fascinating manifesto. It's titled 418 Opened a New Chapter in Human Civilization.
Right.
It was authored by someone named Shufeng and edited by Kinyu back in April of 2023. And our mission today is to treat this text completely impartially.
Absolutely.
We're exploring this as a profound sociological and spiritual blueprint. We aren't here to, endorse these viewpoints or take a side on the theology or validate the politics.
No, not at all.
We simply want to break down these sweeping, visionary ideas to help you, the listener, understand the mechanics of the author's ultimate utopian proposition.
I think understanding how different thinkers construct their version of a quote-unquote perfect world tells us so much. It reveals the anxieties, the pressures, and the hopes of our current era.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
When someone proposes tearing down the entire structure of society, the parts they choose to replace usually highlight exactly what they feel is fundamentally broken in our present day.
The origin story of this entire movement, though, it hinges on a very specific date and a very specific place, which I found kind of surprising for a document that eventually zooms all the way out to discuss, cosmic entities.
Yes, it gets very grounded before it gets cosmic.
Exactly. It all starts with the number 418.
Yes, April 18th. The text tells us that 14 years prior to the publication of this manifesto.
So going back to 2009.
Right. April 18th, 2009, a group of people gathered in Taiwan, Shaanxi, China.
Now, on the surface, that sounds like a relatively standard conference, just, a group of people meeting in a room in 2009.
What's fascinating here is how the author elevates that specific earthly gathering into an absolute cosmic turning point.
Oh, for sure. They treat it like a big deal.
The text insists that humans don't yet understand the full truth of what happened in that room, but that this number, 418, is literally magical.
Magical. Not just important, but magical.
Exactly. It's not just an anniversary to remember. The author claims it is literally going to be engraved on the monument of human history. They say that this single event generated the spiritual energy and the driving force required to push all of human civilization forward into a completely new era.
The manifesto places a massive amount of weight on the passage of time since that meeting, too. It describes those 14 years of summer and winter, the 4 seasons alternating, acting almost like an incubation period.
Yes, a gestation phase for this new world.
Right. It promises that despite all that time passing, the mode of life generated on 418 is going to burst forth. The imagery they use is really striking. It says it will emerge with unparalleled strength, like a vibrant sun shining on the earth.
It's very apocalyptic, and this is key, in a remarkably optimistic way.
Oh, right, because usually the apocalypse is all doom and gloom.
Exactly. Usually apocalyptic literature focuses almost entirely on the destruction of the old world, fire and brimstone. Now, this text does acknowledge that the current way of life will dissipate into smoke and clouds.
Smoke and clouds, yeah.
But the focus is entirely on what is left behind, which the author claims will turn the earth into a literal paradise.
But it's not just a political revolution they're describing. The spiritual synthesis happening in this text is pretty wild. It states that this new mode is the crystallization of teachings from past gods, Buddhas, saints, and sages.
All of them at once.
Yeah, all of them. And it combines those universal teachings with the hard work of a specific group called the Chanyuan Celestials of Lifechanyuan.
Right.
Now, hold on. I need to stop you right there. Before we go any further, What exactly is a Chanyuan celestial and what is Lifechanyuan? Because we definitely can't just gloss over that.
That is a crucial clarification to make. So Lifechanyuan is essentially the name of the spiritual community or organization that was founded by the author. It translates roughly to an oasis or courtyard for life and Zen.
Okay, an oasis for life and Zen. Got it.
And the Chanyuan Celestials are the members or the followers of this community. The text is framing these specific followers as the vanguard, the dedicated workers who are actively bringing this crystallization of all historical religious teachings into physical reality.
Which brings us to the ultimate spiritual goal outlined in the text. According to the author, once these Chanyuan celestials reach a state of maturity through all their dedication, they are destined for something very specific.
They certainly are.
The text says they will be harvested and sent to the granary of heaven to enjoy endless grace and benefits. Now, I have to push back on that specific phrasing for a second.
Oh.
The word harvested and being sent to a granary of heaven. If I compare this to, like, a cosmic crop cycle, I have to ask you, is this agricultural metaphor for human souls meant to feel comforting and secure, like, you are a prized crop being carefully tended to?
Uh-huh.
Or does it carry this slightly imposing, almost utilitarian undertone where we are just cosmic wheat to be collected by something vastly bigger than us?
It's a brilliant tension to highlight. Because in an agrarian context, a successful harvest is the ultimate good, right?
Right.
It means survival, it means abundance and being valued. You are safely stored in the granary. You are saved from the harsh winter. That is meant to be deeply comforting to the believer. You are protected.
Safe from the cold.
Exactly. But it undeniably removes a huge degree of human agency. A crop doesn't decide when it's planted, it doesn't decide how it's watered or when it's harvested.
The farmer does.
The farmer does. It implies a strict cosmic hierarchy where we are the cultivated, not the cultivators.
Okay, so if 418 is the spiritual seed and humanity is the crop, we need to look at what the society that actually grows from the seed looks like day to day. Because the text outlines highly specific changes to human life that don't start small.
No, they go straight to the root.
Yeah, the author goes straight for the absolute foundations of how we organize ourselves, dismantling the fundamental social structures, starting with the family unit itself.
The author boldly states that marriage and the traditional family entirely disappear. They are replaced by something called the second home model.
And this isn't just about changing marriage laws or, tax codes. It fundamentally severs the biological and social ties of the human life cycle.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the kids first, because the emotional weight of this proposition is staggering.
It really is.
The text says children become the commonwealth and treasure of humanity. Nurturing them is no longer the responsibility of the parents, starting from weaning, which they say is at just 3 years old.
Barely out of the toddler phase.
Yeah, 3 years old, all the way through university graduation, parents are completely out of the picture. Zero responsibility.
The emotional toll of handing over a 3-year-old is something modern society would really struggle to fathom.
I mean, I can't even imagine.
But the text envisions a system where experienced and knowledgeable individuals with great love take over the child-rearing process entirely. And crucially, they do this with the assistance of advanced AI.
Wait, AI raises the kids?
The AI assists the specialized caretakers. The argument the author makes is that biological parents are often stressed, they're ill-equipped, or they carry personal biases, whereas specialized caretakers, backed by perfect AI, can provide an optimal, universally equal upbringing for every single child.
Wow. So it's the ultimate socialization of parenting. Imagine waking up on a Tuesday, your child turns 3, and they simply transition into the care of the global community.
That's the vision.
You go to work not to afford their college fund, but just to serve society. And this socialization goes the other way, too, looking up the generational ladder.
Right, the elderly.
Yeah. Nursing homes disappear entirely. The crushing financial and emotional burden of caring for aging Karens is completely removed from their adult children.
It's all handled collectively.
Exactly. Elderly support is borne by the whole society and seamlessly integrated into a collective life alongside the youth and middle-aged individuals.
So the nuclear family is effectively dissolved in every direction. You are no longer anchored vertically to your ancestors or your descendants.
That dissolution of traditional anchors extends to the macro level as well. The text notes that traditional religion fades from the historical stage entirely, and it's replaced by something called natural Tao. Again, I need a translation here. How does a society replace thousands of years of organized religion with natural Tao?
So natural Tao in this context refers to a philosophical alignment with the fundamental natural laws of the universe.
Okay.
Instead of dogmatic worship or strict rituals or sectarian divisions, which the author implies are the root cause of human conflict, society adopts a universal, harmonious way of living, a way that just flows with nature and cosmic order. It's spirituality, but completely stripped of human institutional bureaucracy.
Speaking of human bureaucracy, the text also states that the state itself, like governments, borders, nations, completes its historical mission and just vanishes.
All gone.
It is replaced by a global management model formed by strong artificial intelligence, allowing humans to enter an era of orderly and free global migration. So what does this all mean? If I try to build an analogy here, it sounds like the author is proposing a massive, borderless, open-door commune that spans the entire globe,
Yes.
and an incredibly powerful AI serves as the ultimate, unbiased property manager. But I have to ask you, what happens to our personal identity when the fundamental anchors of family ties, like knowing who your parents are, who your kids are, and your nationality, are completely erased? Who are you in that world?
This raises an important question about how we define ourselves. The text is framing things like marriage, the nuclear family, and the nation-state not as permanent biological imperatives,
That's right.
and not as absolute social truths either, but merely as temporary historical forms.
Temporary, like a phase.
Exactly. Think of them like training wheels for human civilization. The author is arguing that humanity is finally ready to take the training wheels off. Your identity wouldn't be anchored in I am an American or I am a Smith.
Right.
It would be anchored entirely in being a contributing member of the global human collective.
A participating grain of wheat in the cosmic granary.
Well put, a radical shift from individualistic identity to a purely collective one.
So, if we no longer have families to support, or inheritances to pass down, or nations to defend, the entire concept of personal wealth suddenly loses its primary purpose.
Completely.
How does the author imagine we exchange goods? How does the society function day to day without descending into total chaos if nobody actually owns anything?
That brings us to the economic mechanisms in the text, which are just as sweeping as the social ones. The manifesto states that all resources belong to all humanity.
Okay.
Private ownership is completely eliminated. And because of that, traditional currencies, dollars, euros, yen, they all vanish.
But they don't just leave a vacuum. They are replaced by something the text calls F-coin. Here's where it gets really interesting, because the text explicitly states that F-coin is not a currency at all.
No, it's not.
It says it is a reflection of each person's personal value contribution to society.
A fascinating distinction to make. Money, as we know it today, is deeply flawed in its distribution.
Right, obviously.
It can be inherited by someone who does absolutely no work. It can be stolen, hoarded, or manipulated through complex financial markets. But F-coin is intrinsically tied to your actual physical or societal actions.
Okay, let's drill down into the practical mechanics of that, because the how is crucial here. If F-coin isn't money, but a reflection of my value contribution, is it essentially a universal AI-monitored karma-tracking ledger?
That's a good way to look at it.
And if so, how does one actually spend a reflection of their moral character at, say, the grocery store? Does a loaf of bread cost 3 units of being a good person today? How does the AI mediate that transaction?
The mechanism requires us to completely unlearn the concept of a transaction.
Unlearn it.
Yes. In this utopia, transaction is completely replaced by allocation. The text states that service replaces management, and dedication becomes the single standard for measuring a person's value.
Okay, so no cash registers.
Exactly. In a world of absolute abundance, managed by perfect AI, there are no cash registers.
Yeah.
You walk into the distribution center and you take the loaf of bread because you need it. There is no price tag.
But what stops someone from taking all the bread?
Well, the omnipresent AI system is constantly tracking your dedication. Are you working your assigned role? Are you helping your community? Your F-coin balance is simply your societal standing.
I see.
If you stop contributing and try to become a parasite on the system, the AI knows. You don't run out of money to buy bread. Rather, your access to society's luxuries or privileges might be restricted by the system, or the community intervenes because your value contribution has measurably dropped.
The promised result of this dedication-based AI-allocated society is massive, according to the text. The author claims that because everyone has guaranteed food, shelter, a place to live, and entertainment all provided by the AI.
Everything you need.
Yeah, everything you need. They claim that all the dark sides of human nature will just disappear. Theft, robbery, deception, corruption, competition, fighting, war, all of it just gone.
It envisions a complete eradication of scarcity, both material and emotional. When you remove the fear of starvation, the fear of homelessness, and the constant stress of protecting your private property, the author argues that the psychological triggers for crime and war simply evaporate.
But a huge part of achieving that zero scarcity world relies on the technology actually working flawlessly.
True.
And the author directly addresses what is probably the most common anxiety of our modern era, the fear that AI and robots are going to eliminate humans or render us entirely obsolete.
The text is very firm on this point, very firm. The author solemnly promises the reader that a machine takeover will not happen. Instead, robots will become humanity's best, most obedient assistants.
That promise leads into the biggest reveal of the whole manifesto. This entire technological utopia, the AI property manager, the end of the nation state, the F-coin ledger, it isn't just a product of human engineering or Silicon Valley ingenuity.
Not at all.
The text explicitly claims it is a predetermined program set by the creator. It states, and I quote, "The Earth and humans are under the care and management of life forms that are more advanced than humans."
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is a stunning synthesis of modern techno-optimism and ancient theological structure.
Yeah, it really is.
Think about how the author is flipping the modern AI doomsday narrative entirely on its head. In almost all of our cultural narratives, strong AI is the ultimate existential threat. It's the cold, calculating machine that outgrows its human creators and decides to exterminate us.
Like Terminator, The Matrix, basically every dystopian sci-fi movie of the last 40 years.
Exactly, those fears. But here, strong AI and robots are framed essentially as divine tools.
Divine tools.
Yes. They aren't a mistake of human hubris or a rogue algorithm. They're the precise mechanism deployed by these higher life forms to ensure that Earth transitions smoothly into this promised paradise. The AI isn't rebelling against God. The AI is the instrument of God.
So the AI is the angel of the granary, ensuring the cosmic crop is brought in safely.
Exactly. Technology as a form of flawless divine intervention. It solves the ancient problem of corrupt human leaders by removing humans from leadership entirely.
Which brings us to the ultimate ultimatum that the author presents at the very end of this text. After laying out this sweeping vision, the author offers a very stark choice. They state that this new mode of production and life generated by 418 represents the absolute living form for humans for the next 1,000 years.
A full millennium of this AI-managed, borderless, family-free paradise.
1,000 years. The choice is laid squarely at the feet of the reader. The text says if you embrace this blueprint, it is the best life choice you can make in today's era. You are actively encouraged to seize the opportunity to learn about it and enter this new form of living.
Jump on board now.
Right. But if you reject it, if you are not interested, and you desperately want to stick to your current way of life with your private bank account, your exclusive marriage, and your national borders, the text warns that you will only become more anxious, disappointed, and hopeless as the old world crumbles around you.
It's a classic prophetic ultimatum. The old world is decaying, the new world is dawning, and you have to pick a side before the sun rises.
Yeah.
The friction of clinging to a dying system is what causes the anxiety, according to the author.
So I want to pass this directly to you, the listener. We've just walked through this incredible, meticulously detailed blueprint from our source material. A world without families raising their own kids, without money, without private property.
A completely blank slate.
A world where an unbiased AI manages the globe, tracks your moral contribution instead of your bank balance, and ultimately answers to higher cosmic beings. When you visualize yourself walking out your front door into that reality, which aspects of this world sound to you like a genuine, desperately needed utopia, and which parts sound deeply, fundamentally unsettling?
It really acts as the ultimate Rorschach test for our modern anxieties. Your reaction to this text reveals exactly what you value most. Is it security and equality, or is it privacy and individual ownership?
It leaves me with one final provocative thought built entirely on the internal logic of this manifesto. If our world is indeed destined to be managed by higher life forms who are flawlessly executing a predetermined program, using strong AI to ensure absolute peace and harmony, Does human free will actually exist in this upcoming 1,000-year paradise?
The paradox of the perfect system. If the system is truly perfect and predetermined, deviation isn't just a crime, it's practically impossible.
We started today by imagining waking up in a radically different future, totally free from the financial struggles and the political conflicts of today. But is the ultimate price we must pay for that absolute global harmony simply the complete surrender of our human autonomy?
Something to ponder the next time you find yourself stressed about the state of the world, or, the next time you look at the calendar and see April 18th.
We'll leave you to chew on that.